as soon as I saw the sides, I was like, I think I know how to beat Trent. I think I know how to do this. And I've heard from so many actors who have, quote unquote, made it, how they just kind of knew that first time. And I truly had this feeling. And I went in there. The walls were paper thin in that audition, and I could hear everyone else's audition, and I prepared it so differently from everyone else. And I got freaked out for a second. And I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, you know what? Stick to your guns. Just like go in, and this is how you prepare it. You know, this is the character. You know Trent.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Pop Culture Planet. I'm your host, Kristen Maldonado, and today we are joined by my friend Benjamin Norris, who stars in Netflix's Never Have I Ever. We're talking about season 2, as well as what else is going on in his career. Can't wait for you guys to check it out. Enjoy. Ben, how are you doing?
Good. How you doing? This is kind of crazy, huh?
I know. I think back about how we met on a plane going to New York, and now, I'm just like, wow, dude, you're killing it. 2020 was a crazy year, but it was an amazing year for you.
Anytime someone asks how was your year, I'm just like, it was both obviously the hardest year I've ever had, but also the most exciting year I've ever had. It was such a weird, it was strange for everything to happen during the hardest, the craziest, hardest year for everyone, So it was pretty wild. I'm very, very lucky, very fortunate. You're killing it too, though. I've obviously been following you ever since we met, and you obviously you just have such a passion for this, and that's that's inspiring and it's awesome. So it's this is so serendipitous that we get to do this.
Yes, look at us. Look at us. We're thriving, man. We're thriving.
We are.
Hey, before we get into everything about Superstore and season 2 of Never Have I Ever, I want to dive back a little bit, and I'd love to talk about where your love of entertainment came from. Did you always dream of acting and creating? Where did that all start for you?
Growing up, I was obsessed with movies. I wasn't a big reader as a kid, so I would watch movies over and over and over and over until I kind of learned every word, and then I would move on to the next one. And from a pretty early age, I started performing for my parents. I don't think I understood that it was maybe this will be my career path one day. I think I always loved making people laugh. That's just what I wanted to do. I just wanted to make people laugh. And I think eventually I kind of realized that well, if that's my passion, then maybe I can do it for a living. And then as soon as I got my first video camera, my video camera, not my parents, I think I was in 7th grade or something, and from then on I was just always making videos, so it was just I always wanted to tell stories and create and make people laugh and do funny voices and just everything, so yeah, I think it was inherently in me from when I was born. I really believe that.
You mentioned that you would watch movies. What movies were you watching? What was inspiring you?
It really depends upon what phase in my life it was, So I think early on, it was the classic kids movies. It was all the Disney movies and whatnot. I loved sports movies growing up. So one of the movies I would watch over and over was Rookie of the Year from the 90s. And then the first time I saw my first Mel Brooks movie, I was like, oh, maybe I want to make this kind of movie. So anything that was over the top, satire, spoofing, lampooning, that I was like, maybe this is it, And then the whole, the Judd Apatow and Seth Rogen regime came in, and I was like, wait a second, this is it, And specifically, I do want to point out Hot Rod, which is Andy Samberg's movie from back in the day. That was I was like, oh my God, you could do this? You could just be so stupid. Every phase of my life, I had a different obsession as far as genres and everything. And then the movie that wound up becoming ultimately my favorite movie of all time is Little Miss Sunshine. And when I saw that, then I was blown away by the indie comedies, the indie comedies that are just so grounded and silly at the same time, but had a lot of heart. So yeah, it was just I feel like I was inspired and any turn that I made, you know?
So do you have aspirations like beyond acting to like, write and create these types of projects as well?
Yeah, absolutely. When I went to college, I studied filmmaking, I studied writing and producing. I didn't study acting. So writing was always I think writing was always my true passion, just storytelling in general. And I felt I was the best, person to tell those stories. So that's why I was acting, is because I was just, trying to translate the stories that I wrote for people. So I think writing was always kind of the ultimate goal. I had my first writing job in 2016. I wrote for a small sports comedy show on Audience Network. And that was a really cool experience because I was like, wow, this is kind of really what I came out to LA to do. But ever since then, I'm kind of always writing, my own, whether it's movies or a pilot. But yeah, I think the ultimate goal is to, have my own show, write, create, star in it. Maybe not be the showrunner. I think I would love to kind of partner with someone who is like a boss. Because I don't know. I think I'm a character person, and I always want to focus on the character. So yeah, having my own show would be the ultimate goal for sure.
I mean, I can see it.
Yeah, thank you.
You have such a fun, dynamic personality that like, the fact that you write and you produce and you do all this stuff. It's like, I love people that are jacks of all trades, and I feel like you do it all, and I try to do that too. You want to be able to do a little bit of everything.
You have to nowadays. I mean, anyone who kind of like asks for advice coming up into the industry right now, it's like we have all this technology and all these resources at our fingertips, and if it's not you doing it today, there's someone else out there doing it today. And it's like, at the end of the day, like, you are your own brand, you're your own product, you're your own, your own art, your own creator. And there's no better person to tell your own story than you. And I encourage, even if someone isn't comfortable writing, I always encourage people to write. And it's not about it being good or bad, but it's finding your own voice. And I think even actors who don't want to write, I think at least just exercising that muscle, like I said, you're gonna find your own voice. You're gonna understand what you're like as a storyteller, and I think that's just like very important.
100% agree. Now, I'd love to hear how you went then from that writer's room now to acting in some of the projects that we've recently seen you in, like Superstore, Never Have I Ever. I'm not sure which one came first. They were kind of the same year. So I don't know if maybe you want to tell us a little bit also how you went on that journey to those projects. Ever
since I moved out to LA, I had been auditioning, and the writer's job kind of just fell into my lap. And then I kind of, while I was writing there, I stopped auditioning, and then after the show got canceled, I went back into the auditioning grind, and I would get little digital stuff here and there, commercials here and there, but nothing, nothing of like the caliber that I was looking to do. And then in 2019, so even though they came out at the same time, Never Have I Ever was the first thing that I did. 2019, I got the email from my agent for this audition for a Mindy Kaling show, and The Office is my favorite comedy of all time, and I mean, it's the best.
No brainer,
no brainer, and I was like, that would be cool. As soon as I saw the sides for the audition, which, if anyone doesn't know, the sides are the portion of the script that you're going to audition for the character with. As soon as I saw the sides, I was like, I think I know how to beat Trent. I think I know how to do this. And I've heard from so many actors who have, quote unquote, made it, how they just kind of knew that first time. And I truly had this feeling. And I went in there, the walls were paper thin in that audition, and I could hear everyone else's audition, and I prepared it so differently from everyone else. And I got freaked out for a second, and I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, you know what? Stick to your guns. Just like go in, and this is how you prepared it. This is the character. Trent. And I did it, and I got it. And oh man, it was a very emotional experience for me. And then I want to say it was like probably almost a year after that. Before Never Have I Ever even came out, I got an audition for Superstore, and it was the same casting directors. who I already appreciated so much because I was like, you guys just did it for me, you know?
Yeah.
And I went into those same guys, you know, I told them, like, by the way, thank you, because Never Have I Ever was the greatest experience. And they wound up casting me in Superstore as well. So I owe those guys a lot, so much. So yeah, it all just kind of worked out.
That's incredible. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to keep those connections, you know? You never know.
I know.
That's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about Superstore. You know, this is a show that's been going on for a couple of seasons already on NBC, just ended. So what was it like for you kind of coming into this project with an already established cast, but also some really incredible people in there?
Great question, because I was so nervous. I wasn't nervous about the work, but I was nervous about being the new guy. I hate being the new guy anywhere. I always have, you know? And I was very nervous being the new guy in a show with all these really seasoned actors who have just been obviously a family for, at that point, 5 years or 6 years or whatever. And yeah, I was just really nervous about it. But you know, ironically, Kaliko, who plays my mother, Sandra, was just right off the bat, like, kind of motherly to me in the best way possible. Like, she welcomed me with open arms, and so did the rest of the cast. And you know, it was almost like, I don't know why I was so nervous for this, because everyone on that show is an absolute gem. Like, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I couldn't believe, you know, Ben Feldman, who plays Jonah, the way he put it is that show was lightning in a bottle. Like, how hard is it to get a group of that big of a group together who's just all cool, you know? And I learned so much from every single one of them. I learned so much from them. I just found myself sitting there and watching everyone. And yeah, it didn't take long till I kind of felt a part of the team.
Was there anything in particular that you could like share that you know took away from that set?
So as I mentioned, Ben Feldman, you know, I was just a huge fan of him in general. And whether it's take 2 or take 20, that guy's bringing it every time. And it's just like, and it doesn't matter if it's the first scene in the day or the last scene in the day, he's bringing it every time. And I really I was like blown away by it. Another thing that was really cool to learn was that, like, they're all keeping it so lighthearted with each other. On any comedy, I believe that's probably how it goes. But I think the banter back and forth between everyone in between takes is what keeps them, like, really loose and confident as well, you know? Because, like, the joking, as soon as they yell cut, like, the joking doesn't stop. Like, it just continues. And I loved it. I'm just a fan of comedy. I'm a student of comedy, and, like, these are like world-class people, you know? There was just, like, every day I learned something on that set, you know?
That sounds like it was just a blast.
Yeah, it was.
And now getting into Never Have I Ever, you know, this is season 2 now, which is like so awesome. You're like so funny in this. And, you know, I would love to hear a little bit more. You mentioned that the way you were taking on this character in your audition was a little bit different than everyone else. Could you talk a little bit about that and just like who Trent is for you?
The original breakdown of the character was like frat boy jock. And, you know, I did bring that, but I also brought a bit more of the goofy, laid back stoner energy, because I just knew that that's what this character needed. Mm-hmm. And what's so cool about being a part of a show like this from the ground up is that everyone, you know, it's not just, you know, so much has to do with the writers, but the actors will kind of like finish shaping the character with their own flavor and their own style. And so I think, along with myself, everyone else on the cast wound up like really like finally forming their characters, and the writers would take that and they would run with it. And so that's one thing that they did with Trent on season 2, is we found out what worked about the character on season 1, and the writers, what it seemed like was the writers just had so much fun giving Trent some ridiculous things to do. And that was a dream come true for me. Like, I would get the script and I'd be like, he's doing what this episode? And I would like run into the other room and tell my girlfriend, I'll be like, babe, you gotta stop what you're doing. You gotta listen to what Trent's about to do, you know? So it was like, it's just been such a cool experience, like helping grow this character into what he is, you know? And I give so many thanks to the writers of this show for doing with him exactly what I wanted people to do with him.
Like you said, you have so many fun lines. You even have some fun stunts in this season, and I wasn't sure, like, do you actually fall off the roof, or is that how does that work?
So the first stunt is the handstand, and I was able to do that on my own. I was very excited about that. I guess someone overheard me saying on season 1 that I could do a handstand. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they said, so I'll take it. And then the director actually texted me a few days before shooting, and he's like, "Can you do a handstand?" And I was like, "I could do it. I got this," you know? Mm-hmm. I still had a stunt double there, and just in case I needed him, and he was the man. Shout out to him, because he's fantastic, and he kind of helped me through it to make sure that I had the right technique and everything. As far as falling off the roof, no, they would not let me do that stunt. I would have loved to have done that stunt, but then once I saw it actually happen in real time, I was like, I'm not giving this guy enough credit. Like, this is a skill and it's a technique, and he nailed it in one take. Yeah, it's pretty epic. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was sitting on top of the roof to deliver my lines, and it was cool. They built a little ledge for me, just behind the roof. There was another stunt guy holding a cable that I was attached to. And in between shots, I'm just sitting up there. So we're just having casual conversations. I couldn't even see him. And we're just talking like back. I'm like, no, I can move it. Like, what about you? You know? Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
One of the things that I was really excited about was towards the end of this season, you and Eleanor kind of have a little moment at the dance, and I was like, whoa, okay, season 3, I'm ready. What's going to happen there? And I would love to see more Trent. So what was that like for you?
It was so cool because after season 1, my girlfriend and I kind of came up with this theory that we were like, I wonder if Trent and Eleanor will ever get together. And sure enough, they wrote that into the finale, and you know, who knows if we get another season, who knows what will happen beyond that. So I don't know, but to me it just makes sense. They're both weird and they're both unapologetically themselves, and I see it. I actually hadn't gotten the 10th episode yet before some of the other cast members got it, and I had heard some people kind of being like, wait till you read episode 10. And I'm just like, I want to know. And no one wanted to spoil it for me. But I got the set that day, and my Trey, who plays Davey, came like right up to me, and like, she didn't care. She was like, I got to tell you what happens in episode 10. I called my girlfriend right away. We were right.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. I mean, I'm hoping that we get to see you guys in season 3, maybe going on some cute dates and things like that. I think that would be so fun.
We'll see, you know?
What is it like on set? I mean, you guys are all young, you're all having fun. This is a lot of you guys' like first big projects. So, you know, what is the dynamic like? It's
just so much fun. Like, you know, season 1, aside from a few of the guest actors, you know, no one had, you know, Ramona, who plays Eleanor, she's worked a lot. She's had a wonderful career so far, but kind of the rest of us, this was really everyone's first like big thing. So there were no egos on set, you know. There were no egos, and everyone was nice to each other, and everyone was like excited to be a part of this thing. And we had no idea how it was going to turn out. We knew it would be good, but everyone was just fun. Like, we joke with each other all the time. Sometimes we get into deep conversations. Season 2 was very different from season 1 because of COVID. So there were obviously a lot of restrictions. We had to have our masks on all the time. We had to stay 6 feet away all the time. But that didn't stop us from still, you know, the first few days on set, it was definitely a little weird getting used to it. And once we got used to it, we were kind of right back into our ways of just like, you know what, we're not going to let the restrictions stop us from at least having fun. We were still incredibly safe. Everyone did their part on set. I feel like we were just so proud of us, especially as a young cast and crew, to do this. No one's ever done this before, and we did it. But we still had fun, and I just mentioned the crew, and like the crew and the cast, there's no disconnect between the two of us. Like everyone is just friends with everyone, and the crew seems to love us. And we're always joking with them too. So it's just fun. It's 12 hours of fun every day. And I love it. I'm lucky enough to say I love what I do.
What's so great about this show is also just like, we're getting this incredible like diversity and this incredible story of like an Indian American girl that we like definitely have not really seen in a teen show before. Mm-hmm. For you, like, what is it like coming to a project like that and getting to immerse yourself in like, just this different story that like is not always seen, especially in young adult projects? I
just feel lucky. Like that's the only word that comes to mind, because obviously, it's time to tell stories for underrepresented characters, and now is the time to do it, and I just feel so lucky that I'm a part of one, and I'm part of one that it does, it's this extra element to the show, especially like the Indian American culture. Like I was telling this to my girlfriend the other day, how lucky I feel to be a part of a show that like has such a cool culture involved in the show, Yeah, it's great to be a part of something that like, young boys and girls across the country can like watch and be like, they look like me, and not just the lead. Like we are an incredibly diverse show, I really feel as though we're kind of tackling all ends of the spectrum, and it's especially important because it is a young adult show. It is a teen show. It's important that like all the young people watch this and they can be like, well, I guess I could do it too, I just feel very lucky. And that's a testament to Mindy Kaling and Lang Fisher, who was her producing partner. That's a testament to them. And the writer's room. The writer's room is incredibly diverse as well. It's just cool. I feel like they're it seems as though they're doing all the right things right now.
You mentioned Mindy. Have you gotten to have any like moments with her? And what was that like?
We'll tell a quick story about my first moment with her on season 1. We were shooting episode 1. And I don't have any lines in the first 2 episodes, and we were kind of cross-boarding those, meaning shooting them at the same time. And it was a really hot day. We were shooting outside of a grocery store. And I was standing a little over from the producer's tent, which had like air conditioning in it. And I was just kind of standing in the shade, and I hear Mindy be like, "Hey, like come over here." And I was like, "Oh, you want to?" And then she's like, "Hey, come in the tent." And she was just like, "I gotta tell you, like, you're so funny. Like, it's so fun watching you." And like, she's introducing me to everyone, and she was so welcoming. She was just so sweet and welcoming, and like, for a young actor who's like kind of doing their first like big thing, like. That gave me so much confidence that I carried through the rest of the shoot, because that was like my 3rd day on set, And I was just like, this is a leader. Like, this is what a leader is, And it was so natural for her. She wasn't doing that to give me confidence. She was doing that because she wanted to do it, And then I saw her once on season 2. She had obviously seen cuts already of the episodes that we shot, and she told me about one scene that she thought was hilarious. And it's just like, anytime someone like Mindy Kaling says that to you, you're just like, I melted in my seat. I played it cool, but I just
on the inside you're like, whoo. I mean, especially because you said The Office is like one of your favorite shows. And what a parallel to work on a show as one of your first big projects with someone who was a writer on that show, and such a great parallel.
That's why she was such an inspiration to me, because when I was younger and I was watching The Office and I found out that she was a writer from day one on that show, like, that's so inspiring, because she was so young when she was doing it. And and she's so talented, and I just thought that was like the coolest thing. So, she's always been an inspiration to me. And the fact that I get to be a part of something that she created is just like, I pinch myself all the time.
Is there anything else you want to share about what you're working on, or, Never Have I Ever season 2 or anything like that?
I just want the people to know to watch season 2. That's about it. Like I said, I'm always doing my writing, and if anyone wants to follow me on Instagram, I'm posting funny videos every now and then. I've been doing some great sketches with my girlfriend over the pandemic. We moved in together the day the pandemic hit, so that was
oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It was a wild ride, but immediately we started collaborating and we started working on things together. So I'm always writing, I'm always creating, but over the last month, I really was I went back home to New York for a month, and I was really able to kind of turn everything off and kind of hit the reset button because I hadn't been home in a year and a half. I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy to kind of like get the ball rolling again for whatever that may be.
Tell people what your Instagram so they can find all your content that you're making.
Yeah, my Instagram handle is Ben A. Norris. That's with 2 R's, like Chuck Norris. Please enjoy, or don't. We'll see. If you don't laugh, that hurts my feelings, but I don't blame you, so it's okay.
It was such a joy to have Ben join us on Pop Culture Planet to talk about Never Have I Ever season 2, which is out now on Netflix, so make sure to check it out. If you guys like this one, you can check out more Pop Culture Planet right over here, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.